Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first ENES 100 podcast. My name is Sinclair Hilliard, and today I will be your host. It is final season, one of the most stressful seasons of the year. Not only are you worried about passing your classes, you're worried about the classes you'll be taking next year. Are you waitlisted? Did you get the section you want? Do you think you can pass? These are all questions probably running through your mind. While I can't help with the first two, I may be able to help some of you listening with the last one. Today I will be joined by the rest of the Fake IDs group as each member gives their guide on what you need to know to succeed in ENES 100. So it's time to get started. Okay, group, what advice and specific strategies would you give future ENES 100 students based on what you did and what you needed to know?
During ENES 100, I was a part of the Materials Identification OSV group. So our mission was for our OSV to navigate to a 10 centimeter sphere, weigh it, and determine the type of material the sphere was made of. We went through the whole design process and actually came up with a number of ideas to complete our mission. So ultimately, what we decided on was to have an OSV with 4 wheels and 4 motors, an ultrasonic sensor on a servo for navigation, a claw arm that would lower using a servo, and then use 2 more servos to tighten the claw and lift the payload, a weight sensor to determine the mass of the payload, and a conductivity sensor to determine the type of material the payload was made of. So the claw and chassis were 3D printed. The conductivity sensor was built by making an open circuit and using the payload as a switch to close that circuit. And most of the other components were purchased online. So the biggest advice I have for future ENES 100 students is to remember that there are always a lot of good solutions to any problem. My group had some pretty ridiculous ideas, like a lasso or a harpoon gun, that we almost implemented. So yeah, don't be afraid to try crazy ideas because the obvious answer is not always the best answer. And another good thing to remember is to establish good communication with your team because working together in a group is key to successfully creating an OSV or to complete any project, really. So, and then the last and probably most important piece of advice I would give to future ENES 100 students is to rely on your teammates and learn from them, because everyone has different skills, and what's great about the OSV project is that you have a great opportunity to learn different skills from different people.
One strategy that we used in our ENES 100 group was dividing the work between different people in different subgroups. So we had a subgroup for kind of the more mechanical design part, we had a subgroup for navigation, and we had a subgroup for computer-aided design, or CAD. And this was really helpful because everyone was able to do what they were strongest at, but at the same time, everyone was still able to learn something about their own subgroup. And some advice I would give would be to communicate within those subgroups and also have the entire team come together to be able to incorporate your ideas into one unified OSV. And in that way, everything will run smoothly and in a more efficient way.
If I were to give advice for new ENES 100 students starting the class, I would first say to work as a team. Help others within your group even if they are part of a different aspect of the OSV as you are. This allows for more ideas to be shared, and you can help solve some problems they have along the way. Also, make sure you allow enough time for changes in your components based on testing results. This will ensure before the official run you'll have everything worked out and your OSV will work as predicted.
The advice that I would give to future ENES 100 students would be to communicate more with your teammates. Sometimes some people on the team take the lead when talking and presenting their ideas, but if people collaborate more and offer their input on design details, certain obstacles could be avoided. This also ties into the fact that planning ahead is a big deal when completing the OSV project. My team encountered an unforeseen problem with our OSV that ultimately caused it to not work and complete the mission. So if the team were to discuss and plan accordingly should anything happen, then they could troubleshoot better in the future. Also, to get more experience out of this project, even if a person doesn't have that much experience in, for example, coding or building, they should still try to participate a little and ask questions about what's happening so that they can get a better understanding of how this component or system works. Finally, this is an intro class, so not knowing everything is fine. People have different experience levels when it comes to certain topics, so students should know that it's not a big deal if they come in knowing nothing about engineering.
If I were to give advice to a group of new ENES 100 students, it would be pretty simple. First would be make a plan, stick to the plan. Planning is key when building your OSV because it seems like you have all the time in the world, but then when it comes down to it, you're always in crunch time trying to change your code a little bit like this, like that. So by making a plan and sticking to that plan, you'll overall have a better experience with OSV. Secondly is to work as a team. Personally, my group ran into the problem of each person would do their defined task, but then not help others if they were having a problem with the task. So in the end, we were unable to complete some of the needed coding and building things because nobody really interconnected with the group. We all just kind of did our own thing as we were assigned. So to sum up, make a plan, help each other out, and you should have a pretty good functioning OSV.
I think some advice that I would give to ENES 100 students that are just starting their project is to start systems integration earlier rather than later, because we had some problems with combining a lot of our different subsystems into things that would actually get the job done. So, for example, getting communication working or getting certain mechanical things working together so that your OSV could actually accomplish its task. Navigation also, I know we had a lot of problems getting our things to work correctly together, so it's definitely good to do incremental tests as you're going through your project. So, for example, getting things to move forward very early on, or getting the navigation system working so that it's something that you can use reliably when you're trying to navigate around obstacles or find your payload sites.
After completing my semester as an ENES 100 student, some advice I'd give to a future ENES 100 student is don't be afraid to learn something new. Even if you come into this class with little prior knowledge of coding, or woodworking, or CAD designing, you will have the opportunity to learn and develop your skills while working on your OSV project. The purpose of this class is not necessarily to test your skills, but to allow you the chance to work as a team and find out what you do best, so that your team can rally its skills to design the best OSV. What makes this class so special is that most of the course you will spend working with teammates on your project. Not many other classes are set up this way, and should take advantage of the opportunity to learn from other students who know how to either code or build. If you have issues working well as part of a team, you should probably figure these out before starting this class, since teamwork is very much a part of this class. In my experience, it was easy to get along with my team because everyone was very respectful and open to suggestions. Success starts with teamwork, so make sure you are giving everyone in your team a chance to offer ideas, since someone may have a good idea you hadn't yet thought of. Some more advice I would give future ENES 100 students is don't be afraid to start designing and building your OSV. This can be a very daunting, complicated, and time-consuming project, so make sure not to waste any time in your first few building sessions, and get your design squared away as quickly as possible. At the end of the semester, when all of the OSV project were supposed to be finished, many groups were still working on getting their OSV to work. So leave enough time for testing, since your OSV may behave differently in the arena than it's supposed to, often with no explanation. It is fine to change your design during the building process. This is all a part of engineering. In the end, just come to class ready to learn and work as a team, and you will succeed in your goals.
Alright, so I'm the last one to go. For this class, organization is really important. This not only applies to team members and roles, but also with the information you gather, create, and or find out in class. Everyone in the group should have access to material and information relating to your OSV. This helps with communication. If someone or the group has a question, you write it down. You get an answer. When you get that answer, you write it down with the question. That way you have reference material that everyone can go back and see. So when your teacher says write down meeting notes, write them. I suggest that you make a shared Google Drive folder for the group, and anything created in that folder is automatically shared with the group. This makes milestones so much easier because whoever's in charge of pulling together information can just go into the folder and look at respective documents that the rest of the group members have written. Your members should also be organized as well. Everyone should have a role, that way no one feels left out, and everyone can have a role important to the group. Now, these rules do not mean that you cannot do other things, because trying to learn something new or assisting your group in a different way than originally planned is always a good thing, but it allows structure and assurance that your OSV has people actively working on completing it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and the rest of the fake IDs for joining us. I hope everyone has a great day.